Alright then. England 0, USA 0. Let's get into this. 10 points again. I'm going to start off with the whole team in general and then break it down further into individual performances. Point number 1. So in the first half, the team's press wasn't good enough. Not the greatest press. If you're going to press, you have to go all out or not do it at all. As Ralph Rangnick said, there's no little bit of pressing. Particularly Sterling and Saka out wide, not closing down their fullbacks quick enough, which just allowed them to bypass the whole forward line and get at the midfield and at the defence straight away. Many sloppy passes halted the attacks throughout the first half. So saying once you're getting to the forward line and to the final third, or even before you get to the final third, just sloppy passes in getting there just got intercepted, not quick enough. Slow passes, just slowing the attack down, allowing the USA to get back. This just made for not fluid attacks, just broke all of England's attacks down, and that's a reason why they didn't create as much as they should have. The most frustrating thing is there were at times in this game when England did pass quick enough, pass accurately enough, and made quick decisions, they did actually open the USA up. The centre-backs were breaking lines, the midfielders were turning and spraying them out wide, or spraying them into Kane. This just shows they can do it and that they should have done it more. What my feeling is with the team play is that even just like centre-backs passing it to each other, they're not fizzing it into each other. They're just slowly passing it, and this just will not open teams up, because by the time the pass has reached the other centre-back or a full-back, the opposition team, the USA, have moved into the position to block off the options. But if they fizz them into each other, that'll either, one, make the pressing team tired and eventually give up spaces. 2, the pressing team won't be able to cover the options in time, and it gives the receiver more time to pick those line-breaking passes into midfield or out wide or into Kane, etc. So I feel if they just picked up the tempo of their passes between each other at the back, although it's such a small things, these fine details in football that will allow you to break teams down. And I feel this is a thing in football that doesn't really get mentions or noticed, just the passes between defenders, between goalkeepers, not goalkeepers, but goalkeeper and the back line. It's crucial in breaking teams down. It's just maybe concentration levels, I don't know, laziness, just not even realising that bad passes to each other is critical. Like the reason centre-backs pass one over to each other is either they're getting pressed or they're trying to move their opposition around in order to find spaces. But you need to do that at a quicker pace in order to have time to find them spaces then. So yeah, this is an area I feel England and, teams in general, to be honest, I see this quite a lot of club football, but England in particular need to improve on this if they're going to break teams down in the future. And this was a problem in the second half, as their decision making also was too slow once they received passes from their teammates. Just that split second of hesitation closes off an option. This is another problem that I see quite a bit. Just that urge to resist because you don't want to mess something up or you don't want to lose the pass. It's that courage and that split second you need to get your head up straight away and find that pass straight away in between the lines in order to break teams down. Again, this will be in conjunction with how quickly your teammate gets the ball to you, and how quickly he does that or not will basically dictate the time you have to make that decision. Another thing I realised, there are sometimes not enough options for centre-backs. I've seen John Stones doing a lot, kind of pointing out to his players where to be, or just hands out wide, like looking for someone to be able to pass the ball to, rather than just going back to Maguire all the time in the second half. Towards the end of the second half, they were quite slow to set pieces as well. Were they too tired? Were they just happy with the draw? Is that a mentality thing? You don't see, well, I don't think you'd see the Brazilians or the French or even the Spanish have that mentality of, oh, we'll take the draw is fine, 0-0. You don't know what the USA could have done in the final few minutes. Even after the game, the mentality of happy with the draw. Are the fans happy with the draw? Not too sure. Was Kylian Mbappe and France happy with the draw when they were 1-1 against Denmark? I don't think so. Just that sort of mentality is what will win you World Cups especially. I just feel I'm not too sure if this team, especially the manager, has that sort of mentality. Just finally on the team, England 0, USA 0. Last time when I was giving England props for beating a team like Iran and doing so well against them, I was saying about beating what's in front of you. Let's just see what I said last time and see if it fits. Roll it. This could be due to the team they were playing, Iran, could be due to their press or whatever, but you always have to compete against the players in front of you. And it's England and they don't always do that, do they? Well, what do you know? The praise was deserved last time, but the criticism is deserved this time. Alright, point number 2. On to individuals now. Up first is Kieran Trippier. Had a bad game last time, or not a great game last time. Had a bad game this time too, so that's 2 out of 2 in the World Cup now, not looking good. He was wandering for, I think, USA's first chance. The USA header that Maguire misjudged, and they talked about that at halftime. But he was wandering for that that chance, I'm pretty sure. Multiple fouls and inaccurate passes throughout the first half, again just like last game. And also poor closing down of crosses, and especially the Pulisic chance that smacked off the crossbar. There was a stat that came on screen in the second half, which I'm not surprised by. 7 forced turnovers, and there may have been more after that came on the screen, but it's just backing up what I'm saying about Trippier and his inaccurate passes, his losses of possession. Like when you're going forward against harder teams, these will be capitalised upon. Even just not defending well. It's not like he's out creating chances like a Trent would do. At least Trent is bad at the back, but we know he'd at least create chances going forward. Trippier's not even doing that, shown by his inaccurate passes. If I was a manager, and I know I'm not, and we'll get on to Gareth Southgate, but I would be thinking about using Trent in the last game especially, just to test him out, see how he does. If Kyle Walker's back fit, great, you can stick him in there too. But I would give Trent the chance in the final group game, which isn't as important as, say, a knockout game, where you'd probably throw in Kyle Walker first. Try Trent out. Number 3 now, the centre backs again. Had a great game last time, good game this time too. Maybe not as good as last game, but keeping these good performances up is a good sign from centre backs. We start with Stones first. First half there was 2 noticeable nice pieces of defending, one block into the box, and then another last-ditch defender which was covering Kieran Trippier. Again, Trippier should have been the one to take that chance, because as the last man back, Stones shouldn't have to take that chance, because if he messes that up, that could be a red card. If Trippier messes that up, it's a yellow card. Or Stones messes that up, it could be last man back and attackers throwing goal then. So Trippier really should have dealt with that, but Stones was good to deal with that anyway. So multiple blocks, multiple good pieces of defending throughout the first half. In the second half, there was another noticeable good block from a USA chance in the box. John Stones' defending, and the centre backs in general, their defending was good throughout the game. There was also multiple passes between the lines from John Stones, which actually created chances. The problem is I'd like to see him do it more from him. And maybe one of the reasons why he wasn't doing it, because he didn't have the time to get those passes in, because he wasn't receiving them quick enough, or that little bit of indecisiveness that I was talking about earlier, just not having that courage to break lines through because he didn't want to give up the balls. So yeah, a little bit of improvement in decisiveness and fizzing passes between him, Maguire, him and other defenders, and it would have been a top performance from John Stones. Maguire now was great at defending corners throughout the game. It was a real highlight from that game that he was just, anything that came into the box, he seemed to get his head on it and just cleared it out. He broke the lines a couple of times, got a few passes into midfield, but sometimes I felt that he left that role for John Stones. He just kind of, he'd pass to John Stones to do that role more often than not, and we know Maguire has that confidence, as he did it a couple of times during the game. He'd done it last game too. It's just something that I'd like to see him do more and more of. Hit higher numbers of those breaking the line sort of passes into midfield or into the forwards. I just need to see more of that from him. But yeah, decent performance from the centre-backs throughout the game. Clean sheet, what more could you ask for? Well, I'll probably explain what I could have asked for, but yeah. Number 4. Luke Shaw. Not a player that I was too familiar with, for positive reasons, should I say. But I'm really liking what I'm seeing from Shaw this tournament. He's my one to watch of this team, because whatever he does seems to be very positive. I think he could have possibly been my man of the match. First half there was multiple nice passes in between the lines, into forward lines, which created chances then. There was one nice one that was into Sterling, and then he laid it off for Mount for a shot outside the box. There was also a slick chop on the wing inside, and he crossed it in then, which was very nice. He just seems very comfortable on the ball and willing to make those passes through the lines, in between players, under players. He's just very comfortable on the ball, and I like what I see from him. Second half, another pass through the lines into Sterling, which created a chance for Mount, and just multiple instances of smart and creative passing to get out of dangerous areas for a defender and to then break on the opposition. He's just also a brilliant crosser from set pieces, and as we've seen in the final few minutes, from a free kick. Like what I'm seeing from Shaw, and he was my man of the match, and he's a mainstay at that left back going forward. Number 5, Mason Mount. Boy, this could be a good one. In the first half, he actually had some nice plays, created some nice chances, good link up with players. He even had a nice chance outside the box after some good play from Shaw and Sterling. He did kind of waste that though, which continued to be a problem in the second half. His play in the second half, well, I noticed this in the second half. It was a bit slow, a bit indecisive, or too slow and too indecisive, I should say, in order to get chances and win games. He wasted at least 3 chances that I counted anyway just from watching the game. And I felt he was a bit lucky to stay on the pitch for the full 90. As I said, he did have some nice plays during the game, but he also wasted a lot of things. He was slow, he was indecisive. I am wondering, what does he actually bring over the likes of a Phil Foden and Will Maddison even get a chance now that he's training? Mount seems to have this hold over every manager he plays under, but whenever I ask him what does he actually bring, I never seem to get a proper answer. I just get Mason Mount holding a Champions League trophy, which, fair enough, he has that, but I'm looking to find out what Mount brings, especially over a player like Phil Foden, but I'll get onto that in a bit. Number 6, Raheem Sterling. As I said already, he was involved in that nice play to create a chance for Mason Mount. He also had multiple times of strong hold-up play throughout and good link-up play with players. That was probably the more positive sign of his performance. There was also a moment of play that he made a nice, purposeful, powerful drive into the box. It didn't come off, but that's what you like to see. You like to see purposeful play. It's just a shame he didn't do that more often throughout. It's like, say, a Vinicius Jr., a Neymar and Mbappe. They'll do that. It may not pull off, but they'll have the confidence to do it over and over again. And if they keep continuing to do that, it will show purpose to the team and encourage the team to move forward in an attacking sense. If there's players in their team constantly attacking, constantly moving forward, driving and playing with purpose to score. But yeah, downside for him is he just didn't do that enough for my liking. His pressing also wasn't the best. That was one of the team points I mentioned. His pressing wasn't quick enough or efficient or effective. Maybe not pressing in the right way in the right positions because the USA could bypass him. And also some of his tracking was poor. It almost led to a USA chance. Just the USA fluffed it up, or else he was cleared. But the cross came in because of Sterling not tracking back well or losing his marker. And then his night ended when he came off for Grealish. Before this tournament, I thought he was going to have a great tournament similar to his Euro 2020 performances. But after these first 2 games, it's not looking like it, and I really need him to spark himself into form. I thought maybe the goal last game would do it. This game just didn't happen for him. A bit like most of the attackers and most of the team in general going forward. Now number 7, onto his counterpart on the other wing, Bukayo Saka. Brilliant game last time. 2 goals, possible road to redemption, I said. But this game was a little pit stop on that road because he didn't have a good game at all. Similar to Sterling, in the first half his pressing wasn't great, was not there, or maybe not effective enough, as the USA were bypassing him as well, getting at the midfield. And unlike the last game where he was good in attack, he was just poor in attack today. Bad passes, breaking multiple attacks down through maybe poor touches, not choosing the right pass, not passing at the right time, leaving things too late. Just poor decision making from him this game. Basically, he was just poor in the final third, just everything broke down when it went through him. Hopefully he gets back at it the next game, if he plays the next game. But yeah, bit of a drop in performance from the last game from him. Number 8, Harry Kane, the captain of the team. He had one noticeable block chance in the first half, which was good play from the team all round, and was a good strike by him in fairness. He was on target, but it just got blocked. But that was really it from him getting involved in any shots or chances on goal. And was this a game where his dropping deep didn't work and the cons outweighed the pros of him dropping deep? Is there a time and a place or a game for that sort of approach to striker play from Harry Kane? And should he have changed it up mid-game, or after seeing it wasn't working too well, should he have changed it up? Or when he's dropping deep, should the team be set up in a way where Sterling is maybe playing as a 10 or a second striker in order to be able to run off him more effectively, with also another winger, so Sterling isn't coming in from the wing but actually playing off of Harry Kane? Maybe that's an approach going forward. Number 9, subs. Start off with Rashford because it'll be the quickest one. He didn't really do much, didn't get on the ball really that much at all. I think he only maybe had 1 or 2 touches, so he didn't get that involved. I think that's mainly due to the way Grealish played as soon as he came on, and then the team funneled attacks down that side. So getting onto Grealish now, good positive play as soon as he came on, got the ball, drove with purpose that we want to see from him on the wing this time, rather than maybe drives from infield, but drove on the wing into the box straight away. That got fans excited to the point where they almost want him to start next game now, just from that driving one alone. See, when you see these kind of purposeful attacks, it's just positive play, and that's what we like to see. Another nice play again with Mason Mount, a nice 1-2 to the byline for him to cross in to find Harry Kane in the box. That's a nice play from Grealish again, and will only help his stake for claiming the team. It'll only help it anyway. Had some decent tracking of his defenders compared to Sterling especially. I watched that when he came on, since Grealish came on for Sterling. I specifically watched to see if his tracking was as good as Sterling's, if it was better, if it was worse, just so I could compare it. And it did seem to be a little bit better than Sterling's, to be fair. He drew 4 fouls, at least 4 fouls anyway, if not more. But is this a good thing? You know, getting fouled a lot, it's one of those things maybe with a Hazard or a Neymar and a Grealish that they're getting fouled because of their trickery. But sometimes I feel with Grealish, it's because he looks for it, or not looks for it, but he doesn't release the ball on time, or release the ball, he just holds on to it a little bit too long, rather than laying it off to someone. Just wondering, is it improving the performance, or is it actually just because he's holding onto the ball too long? So after those first few positive pieces of play, the drives into the box, the 1-2 with Mason Mount, he just kind of reverted back to old ways, just getting the ball on the wing, passing it back, rather than making those drives into the box and actually doing the plays that we've seen of him in the first couple of minutes. That's what we want to see more from him, but he didn't. He just kind of went back to square one and stopped it all of a sudden, which won't help him get in the team, or maybe it will. Maybe that's what Southgate wants. But as fans, I know we want to see him constantly driving at defenders, so that's what I want to see more of from him. Constantly driving, constantly dribbling at players. It doesn't matter if it doesn't work out, it's purposeful, it sets the tempo for the team. Maybe he came on too late and they'd already accepted a draw at that stage, who knows. Henderson, maybe a controversial one, because many fans didn't want him coming on, especially for Bellingham. He didn't have the game he did last time, but Henderson I don't think was actually too bad of a substitution. It's like for like, so that I see why he came on. But I also see the value he brings when he comes onto the pitch. I noticed him pointing, barking orders. It's that little bit of leadership. He also provided intensity. His pressing was noticeable in the final 15 minutes. So that's the kind of player Henderson is, and used in that way to provide leadership, to up intensity and pressing. I have no real problems with that. Yes, maybe I wanted a Phil Foden, but as a box-to-box midfielder replacing a Bellingham, that's fine. If Foden's to come on, it should be as a winger or for Mount. But Henderson for Bellingham, not mad at it. I was fine with it because of what he did when he came on. He also did the thing that I wanted the centre-backs to do more of. He fizzes passes to the wingers out wide. It just seems Henderson's play is an intensity-raising sort of play. That's what it was in this game anyway, so I wasn't mad at that substitution. Number 10. Gareth Southgate. Boy, this could be a half-hour segment. But yeah, only a few points, as I'll probably go deeper into Southgate further in the tournament, or especially when he gets knocked out. Probably have quite a bit to say on it. Where his sub's a little late, 78th minute to bring on Grealish and Rashford. Is that a little late? You're only giving them 12 minutes, and especially if you've changed the mentality of the game to settle for a draw. The subs is just like, do something if you can, but don't overdo things in order to get a win, sort of. So it doesn't really allow subs to play to their full potential. He's got to drop Trippier next game too. He just has to. He's not played well in these first two games. He's been the worst England player in these first two games. And when you have a player like Trent on the bench, I know his defending isn't great, but neither has Trippier's been. At least we know with Trent what he'll do. Maybe bad defensively, not always bad by the way, but his attacking output will be significantly better than Trippier's. Trippier's constantly inaccurate passes do my head in, to be honest. So with Trent, he's a set ball specialist as well. He's a great cross of the ball from the right. He's a lot more comfortable on the ball. It's just adding to the dynamic of England's attacking play. Also Kane, what does Kane have to do to be not dropped? I'd never expect him to be dropped. South is never gonna do that, like. But what does he do to get subbed off? I know he's the captain and all, but if he's doing nothing, he never seems to get subbed off either, which is a little strange. Maybe Southgate just isn't the type of manager. He has his favourites, I know that's for sure, but he doesn't have the cojones to do it, should I say. Maybe. Lastly on Southgate, no Foden. What? Why no Foden? I know you're not going to start him, but why not even bring him on? You should be starting him anyway, that's for sure. He plays for a Pep Guardiola team. He's definitely good enough for the England team. Most people, everyone, 80% of people according to Carragher or Guardiola say that he's the best and most technically gifted England player. How is he not getting in the England team? Back-to-back Young Player of the Year, winger for the best team in England. And the reason you're suggesting he's not playing is because he doesn't play centre midfield for his club team, Man City. 1. Just because he doesn't get in ahead of Bernardo Silva, Kevin De Bruyne and Ilkay Gundogan. 3 world-class midfielders doesn't mean he's not good enough to get in to an England team, especially over the likes of Mason Mount, who wouldn't get in over those 3 players mentioned either. So to use that as a stick to beat him with is a poor excuse. Even when he was asked about that first in the interview after the game, he had that look on his face as if I've been called out on something and I don't know what to say. He had that kind of look like he didn't have a proper answer set up anyway. He probably wasn't expected to be asked about that. Didn't seem to know why. He couldn't back up his reasoning really. Maybe he just has his favourites. Maybe Mount is just in his good books, like Mount seems to be with every manager he plays under. But not bringing on Phil Foden was strange to me. Second excuse he pulled after he had time to think and make up something, that he didn't play for Man City in midfield, which I already touched on. But Kyle Walker doesn't play as a third centre-back for Man City yet. Gareth Southgate has played him there many times. Marcus Rashford doesn't play on the right wing for Man United that much, if at all. And Harry Maguire doesn't even play for his club, yet he plays for England. So where's the consistency here? At least if you're going to make something up, make it make sense at least. You can get into the best team in the country, and he'd probably get into the England side under any other manager. You had Neil Warnock, you had Alan Shearer, you had Ross Barkley, you had most the Twitter timeline saying that he should be in the team, yet Gareth Southgate is the only man that doesn't see it. It's just strange. I have multiple notes here on the game, yet if you're not going to play Phil Foden, I don't know what you're supposed to do. Like, if you're not going to bring a player of that quality off the bench, at least he's not going to play him in the knockouts. You know what he'll do? He'll play him in the next game, but the focus on the next game won't be to win, because all they need is a draw to qualify. So the approach to the next game won't be as attacking. And he'll play Phil Foden, he might even play Trent then, but the approach won't be the same, and it'll just hamper their chances of making an actual claim for a knockout stage spot in the team, because they may not be able to express themselves fully because of the approach towards the game. I wouldn't be surprised if that's what happened. So yeah, those are my 10 points on the England and USA game. 0-0, not a great watch. Ruined my streak of every game I watched had goals in them. Thank you, England. But yeah, that'll be all this time. And we'll see you after the England and Wales game. Hopefully that's a bit better. We'll see what happens. That's it from me. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Peace.